Interim head coach Mike Kafka announced Wednesday that the Giants will be going with Jameis Winston at quarterback Sunday when they host the Green Bay Packers at MetLife Stadium. Now, the Packers coming off back-to-back losses in which the offense has struggled, not finding the end zone until the fourth quarter in each. Green Bay currently third in the NFC North in a neck-and-neck division race, still with shorter odds to win the NFC North than the 6-3 Bears. But how will this division shake out? Back here with CBS Sports NFL analyst Emory Hunt. Emory, after starting the season 5-1-1, the Packers have dropped back-to-back games for the first time this season and doing so in uninspiring fashion. So does Green Bay get back on track? How do you see the remainder of the Packers season playing out?
I think they will, Madeline. I do feel like we are in an era where people overreact to everything every single moment, where we shouldn't know this much about each other and we shouldn't see everybody's opinion all the time, right? So I feel like because of that, people have overreacted to the Packers. They're still a very good team. When we look at their schedule, although I just laid it out perfectly why they're a very good team, they will take their L coming up this week against the New York Giants and Jameis Winston. You got to know that's going to happen. Jameis gives the people what they want. They're playing at home, and he's one of the best quarterbacks, that most entertaining quarterbacks. He's also still one of the best quarterbacks in the game. He's going to go out there, and they're going to have a lot of fun. They're going to win a game. Mike Kafka's going to, make his statement for why he should be the permanent head coach. Green Bay will lose that ball game, but then they'll go on a nice little run right there. You see, they'll win 4 straight games. This offense can score. This defense is one of the best in the league, especially within the front seven. They'll take a loss on the road at the Bears, so they'll split with Chicago. They'll lose to the Ravens, and they'll go ahead on and just sweep the Vikings. They'll finish 5-3 the rest of the way. And I kind of like the way that season sets up for them going into the postseason.
All right, so you've got the Packers sweeping the Vikings going forward. Let's talk about those Vikings. J.J. McCarthy limited in Wednesday's practice with a hand injury that head coach Kevin O'Connell says isn't something to worry about. Now, the Vikes, with a division matchup in Week 11 taking on the Bears, can they gain ground in the NFC North, or how do you see the season finishing for Minnesota?
First of all, I like how you said it's a hand. Don't worry about it. Yeah, the quarterback probably
Just a
shouldn't.
little
Don't worry
boo-boo. He's
about
got a
that.
Band-Aid on it.
Okay, that's all. You'll be fine. I wonder if it's scratch and sniff too. So I like their defense, right? Their defense will keep them in ball games. They are a pesky, aggressive defense. That defense will have them playing a lot of tight contests. So therefore, they do have a shot to go on a run and make the postseason. The question is, and has always been, what are you going to get out of J.J. McCarthy long term? So when we look at the schedule, the last 8 games, I think because they can play really well on defense, they'll be in a lot of tight games. And J.J. McCarthy has that ability to play better in those high leverage moments. We've seen them do it a couple of times this year, but they'll lose 3 straight because that's 3 tough games against the Bears, the Packers, and the Seahawks. They'll beat the Commanders. They'll go on the road and outscore the Cowboys, and they'll beat the Giants on the road before getting that coal in their stocking against the Lions on Christmas Day and losing to the Packers. So they'll finish the season 3-5, outside looking in, but the defense will have them in every ball game on that schedule.
Defense having them in the ball game. We like to see it. All right, let's talk about the Bears. Bears coming off a come-from-behind win over a Giants team that's getting a lot of mentions in this NFC North segment here. Giants team that made a coaching change in the wake of the loss. Chicago's schedule does get a little bit harder going forward, the second hardest remaining schedule in the league, and 6 of 8 teams above 500. So where does Chicago finish this season?
Well, Madeline, if folks have followed CBS Sports HQ all spring and summer, they would have seen my take saying that the Chicago Bears will win the NFC North. So, of course, this is great for my agenda. This is great for CBS Sports HQ because who else has great analysts that are nailing these predictions like this, right? So this is why when we look at their schedule, I think the Bears are going to go on a run. So look at this. Wow, look at all those wins. Vikings, Steelers, yeah, they'll lose against the Eagles. They'll lose that game on the road against Green Bay, but then they'll go on a run. Shador Sanders, they'll beat the Browns. They'll beat the Packers. They'll go on the road, beat San Francisco, and they'll take care of business against the Lions. I think that Lions game in Week 18, all seriousness, will be for the division. So with those stakes being what they are and how the Lions team and the Bears team kind of are similar in terms of what they provide in terms of explosiveness on offense, we'll see if the Bears defense can keep up with that Lions defense. So I think that game will go back and forth. Wouldn't surprise me to see a Week 18 overtime matchup with the division on the line, but I have the Bears winning that and also having them win the division because, again, I stand 10 toes down with what I say.
All right, I like it. A little spoiler alert here because you've got the Bears beating the Lions in Week 18 for the division. But let's talk about those Lions. They're the team currently sitting atop the NFC North. Jahmyr Gibbs putting on an absolute clinic in Week 10, 2 touchdowns in the dominant win over the Commanders. But with just 3 divisional games remaining, can Detroit hold on to the top spot in the NFC North? We already heard you say no. So how does their schedule shake out?
Well, the reason why I said no is also the reason why I have to give my apologies to the Detroit Lion fans, because in that same stretch of offseason preseason predictions, I said the Lions would not make the playoffs. But because I was worried about the offensive coordinator departure and the defensive coordinator departure, but they have proven me wrong, and they went out there and played Lions football because Dan Campbell is the key. So I will say my bad to the Detroit Lions fans, but when I look at this football team and how they play, I think they are well equipped to go on another run and make a postseason run as well. Because when you look at the schedule, they'll lose to the Eagles coming up. They'll beat the Giants. They'll lose to the Packers, beat the Cowboys, lose to the Rams. That's a great game, by the way, that Rams-Lions game. And then they'll win 2 in a row. Pittsburgh, probably putting the brink on Pittsburgh and like, hey, man, are they going to make the postseason? They'll beat the Vikings, and then they'll lose that overtime Week 18 matchup I said against the Chicago Bears, who will give them the division, but will also help the Lions secure that playoff spot as well. I think most importantly, when we look at the Lions, it's about seeding. If they can continue to play their road to the postseason, get at least a home game, that's big for them. So they're going to have to sweep Chicago by beating them in Week 18 in order for that to happen. Because if they lose to the Bears there, based on how I think the Bears schedule will run its course on the back end, then the Lions would win a division, and as opposed to Chicago. So that's why that game in Week 18 I think is going to be super important, because I also feel like the Bears are about to go on a nice little run.
All right, so a 10-7 finish for the Lions. That's a pretty solid record. That's a record that looks like it's good enough to make the postseason. What is your playoff prediction for the NFC North?
Thanks in part to the NFC South. Somebody has to win that division. They'll get that home playoff game. But that's the only team I see coming out that division, which means you got one team coming out the East, one team coming out the South. I have 2 teams coming out the West. That means you get to get 3 teams in the postseason, NFC North fans. So it's going to be Chicago, it's going to be Detroit, and it's going to be the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay, thanks in part to that tie they had against the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't think the Cowboys defense will improve enough to where they get back into this race. Yeah, they'll make things interesting, but man, the Lions are really good. The Bears are really good. And I feel like the Packers defense is significantly better than a lot of defenses in the NFC. And their offense will figure it out enough to where they'll win more than they lose. So I like all 3 of those teams to get to the postseason.
I like it. Well, congratulations to everyone but the Vikings in the NFC North for Emory's nod to the postseason. Emory Hunt, thanks so much for the insight. We've got Week 11 action on CBS. The 1 p.m. slate headlined by Bills-Bucks, a marquee quarterback matchup with Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield. Then at 4, a battle for the AFC West. The division-leading Broncos take on the division-defending Chiefs. Can Kansas City make it 10 straight division championships? Well, it starts with a win over Denver. Catch all the action on CBS or Paramount Plus, and tune in to CBS Sports HQ for pre- and post-game coverage.